everybody, it's John, your Indian Cine-MANIAC, back with another 10-ish minute review from the viewer choice poll. Okay, so we're just cranking these along, and I want to thank everybody. I put out the word on the last review that I resubmitted the poll with the actual list of movies that wasn't there originally. And a lot of you have responded, so thank you for that. In fact, it influenced the next film I'm going to watch because I just reviewed Go Goa Gone, which I really liked, and I've gone with a completely different change of pace. So the film I am going to review is Article 370, which was a film that came out in 2024. So this is a recent film. It's directed by Aditya Suhas Jambhale, and it stars Yami Gautam, who I've seen in URI Surgical Strike and Oh My God 2. Mohan Agashe, who I saw in Rain de Basanti. Iravati Harshe from Simmba. And Arjun, who is in Secret Superstar, Super hit. And Vaibhav Tatawadi. Okay, that's the cast. Now this was a different kind of film for me. It's based on a true story, first of all. And so I watched the film, and then I probably should have done the opposite, but I watched the film and then I did research to understand a little bit more. And I have to be upfront, I knew nothing about Article 370. I knew about the partition from all the movies that I've seen, but I didn't understand Kashmir, Pakistan, and China, and the whole dynamic there. So I looked up a couple of things. So first, I looked up what is Article 370, and it says it gives special status to Jammu and Kashmir, a region located in the northern part of the Indian subcontinent and part of the larger region of Kashmir, which has been the subject of dispute between India, Pakistan, and China since 1947. Jammu and Kashmir was administered by India as a state from November 17th, 1952 to October 31st, 2019. And Article 370 conferred on it the power to have a separate constitution, a state flag, and autonomy of internal administration. So basically, it said that Jammu and Kashmir would be empowered to recommend the extent to which the Indian Constitution would apply to the state. The state assembly could also abrogate the Article 370 together. So, of course, I had to look up abrogate. I didn't know what that meant. I've heard of abdicate. I've heard of abdicate, but not abrogate, which means repeal or do away. In which case, all of Indian Constitution would have applied to the state. So this Article 370 kind of gave each, from what I understand, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because again, some of this was confusing as I was watching the film. Didn't take away anything about my enjoyment of the film, but it did get a little confusing. So like India had 55% of the territory, Pakistan 30, and China I think had 15. And they each, from what I understand, they each had they had to. The Article 370 gave them the power to have separate constitutions and a state flag. So this is where I get confused. So is everybody taking? Everyone wants the territory, right? So Pakistan was attacking India because India was, since they had the majority of the territory, they considered it and the people Indian, and the other factions didn't. So Article 370 changed that. So when they repealed it, then from what I understand, it became part of India, and they could. This is what I get a little confused about. So okay, so putting that aside, and that's what I learned. Okay, and again, I knew nothing about this, but this movie was I found this really interesting because if you think about it, this film was really a couple of action scenes, and the rest of it was parliamentary and trying to solve something, trying to locate something within the Constitution or the articles that they put in place to be able to again, what's the word, abrogate Article 370. Now, there was an opening narration that
1947
kind of explains the
भारत
history
आजादी की दहलीज
of the
पे था,
partition
लेकिन
and
हिंदू
Article
मुसलमान
370.
बंटवारे की आग
And I
अभी
looked
भी
this up,
चारों
but I
तरफ
don't
फैली हुई
know.
थी। देश की
I haven't been able to
565
confirm it,
रियासतों में से
but it
लगभग
sounds like
सभी
Ajay
या तो
Devgn who
भारत
did that
या फिर नए
narration.
मुल्क पाकिस्तान
So
में
let me
जुड़ने
know
का
in the
फैसला
comment
कर
section
लिया
if
था,
he did.
लेकिन कुछ का
So,
भविष्य अभी भी अनिश्चित है।
the movie was broken down by chapters. Okay, so the story. The story is a true story. Now, I don't know how much dramatic license they took, like they always do, but at the end, they pay tribute to all the people in front and behind the scenes who made this repeal happen. And I found it really, real. I was so taken in by this. I was just so intrigued by it. I didn't understand a lot the politics of it, and who was who. That did get a little confusing. But basically, the story is about an agent named Zuni, who is played by Yami Gautam, who is excellent in this. I mean, she is the film, basically. And her father was framed for something and committed suicide. Now, they give you a little backstory, but not much. Fenway, can you please be quiet while I'm doing my show? Thank you. Um, so, so basically, I mean, literally, the story is how this got repealed and everything that happened behind the scenes, including some terrorist attacks. Now, again, I don't know how much of these attacks really happened. I haven't been able to find that out. But they were, I mean, the some of the scenes where the mob attacks, like the police or the agents, was just harrowing. And if it was true at all, I mean, it was just that they swarm these vehicles. Um, so she's trying to figure. They bring her in to go behind the scenes and try to figure out a way to repeal this Article 370. And they're working with the prime minister who was at the time Modi. And then, by the way, the actor that they picked looks just like the real prime minister. They also get the house minister involved, who actually makes the most compelling speech in the parliament. Um, but I the without talking a lot about the plot, um, I love the story because it's true, and what happened as a result of them pulling this off was so great for India. So this must have been an incredibly patriotic movie. And they made Pakistan look bad, and I don't know enough about it. I know that they perform terrorism. Now one person's terrorism, another person's soldier. But some of the stuff they did, oh my god, like that one scene where all the cops are in the convoy, and a suicide bomber takes out one of the buses. It was just awful. I mean, it was filmed beautifully. But I'm going to give the story a 4 because the behind the scenes stuff where they're trying to track down documents, and that's the funny thing about this movie, that the action scenes were great. They were tense. Um, they were well shot action scenes, but the tension of searching for documents and trying to get these documents to Parliament in time for what they're trying to accomplish, the tension they built with that was as good as the tension they built with the action scenes. That's what I found so interesting about this movie. I mean, the tension that they create. Yeah, there was a lot of tension in the action scenes. You don't know who's going to live, who's going to die. But the action scenes when they're just trying to find these documents and get them to the people in time, I just found fantastic. So I give the story a 4. The acting, uh, great performances all around. I'll give the acting a 4. And again, the woman who played the lead character Zuni, she was so good in this. She was first she gets suspended because she didn't listen to an order. And again, there's all kinds of corruption. The eh, the interesting the interesting thing about the story is that it's almost like, and again, someone who doesn't know, I'm just going by what I saw. They're implying that the bureaucracy of all the governments wanted to keep Article 370 in place because of the money that was coming in. And everybody was involved with it at some high levels. And everyone's kind of turning on each other. You know, you can't trust anybody. Well, she gets suspended, and then the government brings her, and I think it was, well, there's all kinds of, there's I had to get all these initials, but the ISI, who I think is the Pakistan Inter Services Intelligence. Then you've got the POK, Pakistan Occupied Kashmir, LOC, Line of Control. So I'm learning all these terms, but they bring her on to try to set the scene so that they can try to repeal this legislatively. And she's just a strong woman. She's in charge, and there are scenes where she's taking on guys, and not just fighting them, but like arguing with them like she's in control. I mean, there's one scene with one guy, they're interrogating him, and she throws him out a window and is holding on, and finally he talks, and she's just so she was great. So I give the performances a 4. The music. Here's the other thing I really liked about this movie. This wasn't a Bollywood over the top, let's break out in a musical number film. Okay, they didn't do that. This was a pretty serious film about a pretty serious subject, and I thought the background music was fit this movie to a T. It was intense. It had the feeling of a clock ticking. That's what it reminded me of as I was listening to it. And they did, when the convoy of police get killed, I think there was 40 police officers or agents. I'm not sure what they're called. They always do these grand like funerals. I've seen this in a couple of movies. So they, that was a really well done scene with the incidental music behind it. So I'm also going to give the music a 4 because I really thought it was appropriate for the film. And overall, this film, and some of you told me that it's a very political film. Now, I don't know which side of the political fence you fall in this film. I can just tell you, if I was from India and I saw this film, someone who's not from India, I would feel like this was a very patriotic movie. And the stuff they show at the end after the repeal of Article 370, the way everyone responds to it, it seemed like a really high point for India. And I know the Supreme Court upheld the ruling later on. So overall, I give it a 4. I mean, this movie it was so different from anything that I've seen, um, because it wasn't all out action, although it had great action scenes in it. But like I said, it was like a film about the legislative process in Parliament, but it was so suspenseful, and you were hanging on. Now, I didn't know the outcome like all of you did because I didn't know about Article 370, but I was like, are they going to pull this off? Is someone going to get killed? They do a couple of bait and switches, and I'm not spoiling anything, but one bait and switch I absolutely figured out. And there was also there was one scene where one terrorist is beating up a bunch of the agents, and the only one to take him down is Zuni. And I'm like, these guys are all trained agents, and he kind of went through them pretty easily. But even having said that, when she finally takes him down, yeah, it was pretty satisfying, I have to tell you. So again, I will say what this movie has done, it has really got me interested in the history of this and the partition, because I don't know a lot about that, about why it happened. I know what the ramifications have been, but I knew nothing about this. And this thing's, as I watch a lot of these movies, I hear about them, but I really don't know a lot about them. And this film made me look up some of this stuff so I'd have a better understanding of how significant this was. But as far as a film goes, I loved it. I mean, a 4 is a pretty solid score for a film like this. I don't know what you guys thought about it, but let me know what you think in the comment section. I'd be curious. And again, I know a lot of you said this is going to be a political film. Now, obviously, for someone who's not from India or Pakistan, it wasn't political to me. I just found it very entertaining, very stressful, intense, with really great performances. So really enjoyed this film. So thanks for those of you that recommended it. Okay, the next one off the viewer choice. So originally I was gonna watch Johnny Gadar. I'm gonna put that off one because when I reposted the films, like 8 of you in a row said you picked one movie that you think I would really like based on my taste. So the next film I'm going to watch is Sarpada Parambarai. Sarpada Parambarai. It's a boxing film. So that's the next 10ish-minute review I'm going to do. So to all of you who have given me your choices and voting on which one I should watch, I want you to know how much I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I know I got the World Cup coming up. I know cricket's coming up. I think it's June 5th, if I remember right. So I'm going to definitely check. I'm going to wear my India shirt and I'm going to make sure I watch that. Maybe I'll live it. I don't know if I can live or do a reaction. I don't know. I'll do something. But thank you for this. This was, I really like this film. Very different. So thanks. All right, everybody. That's it. I think that was just about 10ish-minute, even with my rambling at the beginning. But thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it, as you know. And again, let me know what you think in the comment section. And we'll talk to you soon with another 10ish-minute review. Thanks for watching, everybody.